Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, I want to talk about a particular conflict that exists within men, within our culture. And the reason I want to talk about it is because I am experiencing it. I have been experiencing it. And I believe that a lot of other good men are also experiencing it. And I just want to share some of my insights as to this situation that the good men are dealing with. So I'm talking about a culture war, right? Now, we hear this expression quite a lot. We think we know what it means, and we see the manifestations of it. We see the media campaigns. For example, the recent rendition of Jesus Christ Superstar with Jesus Christ being portrayed by a black woman. Okay, so we're seeing the effects of this culture war all around us. The opening ceremonies of the Olympics. I'm sorry, where they turned the Last Supper into, a Dionysic, transsexual orgy, right? These are the manifestations. These are the expressions of this conflict that we are dealing with. And the good men are caught right in the middle of it. We are being torn in both directions. Let me tell you more of what I'm talking about so that you can understand this situation a little better, so that you can be a little bit more sympathetic towards yourself, towards the other men, and so that you can possibly have a way to maneuver your way through this minefield of a situation. So the good men, they adopt the cultural pillars and traditions of their culture, okay? That's what they do. They try to fit in. They try to do the job that they are called upon. And this is quite honorable, quite virtuous, quite noble, all right? This is built in. This isn't even like something that you could choose to go against. Some people naturally are just disagreeable and they will go against everything, anything. Okay, but most people, they're willing to go along to get along. This is an interesting concept that Emerson spoke of. I believe it was Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, right? Mid 1800s American philosopher. Okay, so his idea was that we are all part of kind of like a joint stock company where we willingly give up some of our freedoms, some of our impulses, some of our compulsions. We don't just act on our violent, tendencies. We give them up. And now we are part of this civilization that agrees to function within this certain set of rules, okay? And as a result, we have this greater share of freedom. So we give up a little bit of our personal freedom. We don't break the law. And we gain a bit of a cultural, societal freedom. In other words, now we exist in a civilization, in a society that largely doesn't break the law. Okay? Whatever the system is, whatever the system requires, whatever the system demands, the man steps up and he fulfills that role. Now, that's the men's part. That's where we are, okay? We're trying to make our way in a society and a culture by fulfilling the wants and needs of that culture and thereby getting value back from that culture. This is a simple, positive feedback loop, okay? You do the right things, you reap the benefits, you reap the rewards. This is basic, motivated self-interest. This is the engine of any given individual working hard. It's in their interest to do so, right? Take the old joke, why did the chicken cross the road? Because it wanted to. I don't even know, to get to the other, who cares? Who cares? It wanted to, okay? Why does a man do the things he does in life? Because he wants to, all right? He feels an obligation also. He wants to fulfill a role also. He wants to exchange value also. He wants to do the right things and then get the positive feedback. This is built into the good-natured man or woman. No, we really can't say that, can we? It's different. The potential is certainly there, okay? Now, the other side of this culture war. First of all, you've got your elites. These are the people who control the money. These are the people who have had the influence for the last 50 years. These are the people who decide what narratives you're listening to. What's the story, okay? We don't even respond to facts. We respond to just like overall stories. So they're the ones who have been controlling the story, how we interpret things. In other words, maybe Trump says something a little, triggering, right? The mainstream media tries to take this and tries to say, well, he's clearly a fascist. He is clearly like Hitler. It's a story. It's a narrative. This is what sticks. Now, with the internet, with the democratization of information, they're unable to control the narrative as they were before. They become desperate. So in other words, Donald Trump, has a Coke, and they say Hitler liked Coke too. Therefore, he is like Hitler. This is the level of their desperation. They are losing the narrative. They're losing the story. Okay? The American people, the people in Western societies have access to the information, and they're realizing that they've been lied to. Okay? And this is a natural process that's going to happen with almost every person. They're going to adopt the values of their culture, of the people around them, of the society around them. They're going to live with those. They're going to get to a certain place, maybe 40, maybe mid-30s, maybe mid-50s, maybe never, okay? And they're going to wake up and they're going to realize, oh, shit, these are great ideas, but they don't actually work, okay? That they're not going to work in my lifetime. They haven't worked in the lifetimes previous to mine, and they're not going to work in the lifetimes coming after mine. It's a false narrative. It's a victim narrative. It's a story where anybody that they don't like, who threatens their power, is condemned, is canceled, is brutalized, is publicly lambasted, is canceled, are debanked, okay, if you don't go along with the elite cultural narrative. You want to be a good man, you want to do what's right, you want to get ahead in your life. But if you do that, you would be a strong, independent, self-determining individual, okay? The people who run this show, the people who are making most of the money, talking about global corporations and governments, they don't want men like that. They want men who go along with the women, who go along with the group, who go along with the crowd. And they have power, and they have control, and they dictate the narrative. Now, there's a third component here, the useful idiots. The young, naive person who goes along with the liberal idea out of guilt, shame, manipulation, obligation. They're just going along in order to get along. Remember, we spoke about this earlier, the joint stock company. Read Emerson. Emerson has some great philosophy about the individual, the early American individual, the spirit of the American individual. It's good stuff, right? So, and if you don't want to read it, go ahead and watch a video on it. And maybe that'll entice you to, look further into it. But the people who go along with this false narrative, they have their motives, okay? So, look, I don't want to be insulting or anything like that, but let's not mince words, okay? So you've got a fat, lazy person who doesn't have a lot of skills, who largely is taken care of within society, right? And whatever it is that furthers that aspect of society, that's what they're going to call good. And anything that goes against that, that's what they're going to call evil, okay? So yeah, this is quite literally taking, the fruit from the tree of good and evil and chomping down on it, okay? They're deciding good and evil, but it's based on their hidden political selfish agenda, okay? So the very qualities that you as a man, that you need, to be strong, to be independent, to be self-determining in our society, in our culture, these very qualities are held in contempt, are condemned, are ridiculed, are shamed, all right? They want to change the society. So the idea of you showing up on time to a meeting is offensive to some of these people. They should be allowed to show up whenever they want, and you should not be allowed to judge them. You're holding them to some white patriarchal standard that just doesn't apply. So what you're seeing is this rebellion against any sort of convention, standard of behavior, the destruction of that joint stock company, right? And it's being motivated by their selfish, egocentric wants and desires to the degree, like that's not the end of the world, is it, right? Like the kid wants his ice cream. I understand. But this is on a societal level. This is on a social values level. Okay. So the men, like you, like me, stepping up, trying to do the good thing, fulfill the role of a man in society, in culture. This is what we are born, bred, and raised for. These very sets of values and behaviors and habits are in counter to the values of largely a dependent class of people who want to be taken care of. This is why people flock to America, our immigration problems, right? Because there's so much free stuff, okay? These people just want more. They just need more. They don't care that somebody else earned it and we're taking it from somebody else to give it to somebody who hasn't earned it, because that somebody who hasn't earned it is them. So they just don't quite understand it. But if you were taking the money from them to give to somebody, who needs it more, oh, they would understand it really well then, wouldn't they? So this is the hidden agenda of the political mind, right? People stepping up in front of the group and saying, I just want to do the right thing. And it's like, no, you just want to do what's easiest and makes you fat, okay? So that is who the good men are dealing with. And there's more of them than there are of you. So you're alone. You are MGTOW, okay? You are excluded. You are like a big lion who's being kicked out of the pride. Okay, you were, you were a cub, so everything's cool, right? Then you were a young adolescent, and everything is still cool, but you better watch yourself. Now you're a young adult, okay? It's like, you can hang around a little bit. Now you're a full-grown lion, all right? And the other big lion, in the pride, who's in charge, no, he don't want you around. This is competition, okay? So these are natural instincts that you have. This is natural behavior, which is happening around you. But it's being subverted. Okay, this is all about subversion. This is all about the inversion of decent, virtuous, future-sustaining values. Those are strong habits, working hard, getting things done, making a difference in the world, being on time, treating other people with dignity and respect, bringing out the best in other people, maybe putting aside a little bit of your wants and needs so that you can create a better situation for everybody at large, with the idea that they are doing the same. But they are not doing the same. The men are called upon to sacrifice, to turn aside from their wants, their desires, their dreams, their hopes, so that they can be a part of a system and a society that doesn't want them, that's enslaving them, that is actually enlisting them in their own enslavement. And the man is at conflict. He wants to do what the society and the group wants. Of course, they want him destroyed. They want him gone. But he needs to do what is also true to his nature, okay? Like the young lion. It's time for him to go find his own pride, to go build his own pride. That's all it is. Unfortunately, the qualities that you need to do this very thing are shunned and shamed by our society, by all the people around you, by your mother, by your father, by your brothers, by your sisters, by the police officer, by the judges, by the church. Everything. This is your conflict. If you adopt their values, they will like you, but you will be weak. If you go against their values, they will shun you and you will be excluded. But if you betray your own values, no matter what you gain, you have lost yourself. It is the biblical, statement. What does it profit a man, to gain the world, but to lose his own soul? What does it profit you to get some profit, but to compromise your very character, your very nature, your very fundamental beliefs, okay? Don't do it. It's not worth it. Unfortunately, you live in a world that says to you, this is the most important thing. This is the only important thing. You will be judged by how well you compromise your own character so that you can get along with a bunch of people who are not in good shape, who are not healthy, who will not have a sustainable future so that you can be part of that party. And the elite power structure above you controls the narrative. So there's almost no way, for you individually, for me individually, to like break out as, as a man, as an individual. So this is what the men are facing. This is what I am facing. I would like to hear your insights, your views on this, torn between two worlds, being true to ourselves as men and going along with a system that is against us. And most of the people in it, the useful idiots, the fat, lazy people who just want a free ride, they're going to tear you to pieces. You're not going to be part of that group either. So this is MGTOW, men going their own way. It's no joke, It's not just some excuse for men to be angry that the women aren't respecting them. It's deeper than that. They're government whores. They're government prostitutes. They're cultural prostitutes. And the men want to get together with them because they're pretty, they're entitled, they seem to have the approval of the world around them. And if the woman gives the man that approval, then he will, by proxy, have that approval, which he does not have. So we're driven by our own weakness. We're driven for the validation and the respect of the world around us. And you can't condemn that. You can't say, well, I'm MGTOW, I don't need that. A good man kind of needs, a little positive feedback. So stay on the right track, okay? Keep your head up. We will get through this. This too shall pass, right? So the king says to one of his, courtiers, he says, I want something that will make me sad when I'm happy and happy when I'm sad, right? Because he knows these things are fleeting, right? The courtier doesn't know what to get him, but he comes across a ring and it has the inscription inside of the ring. This too shall pass. So he gets that ring and he brings it to the king, right? And the king sees the ring, looks at the ring and says, yes, this is exactly what I was talking about. So this too shall pass. And you shall come out of this stronger and better and more equipped to do the real job that is before you as a man. And that is not to win the approval of the fat, lazy cows around you. It is to rise above. It is to become strong in your own right. But you're in a society that wants you to compromise your very character, your very soul, in order to win their approval, okay? All I can tell you is to be true to yourself. This too shall pass. You shall get through this. But it's no small thing. It could be a small thing for you. You could just blow right through it, bro. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for, too. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate. As I said, there is no support for the good man who's trying to do the good, right thing. The system condemns him. The system does not want good, strong men who stand up for their own values. This is why I reach out to you and ask for your support as a good man who stands up for these values. Please click on my Cash App donation link. Make a small donation, make a large donation to the Howard Dare channel so that I can continue to reach out with a true message for the men who are struggling and suffering, okay? This isn't about men hating on women. This isn't about men getting laid. This isn't about men showing up like Andrew Tate. That's not what this is. This is about giving men the strength and the hope and the faith to get through these dark times. So help me out on that if you can. I would really appreciate it. It could make a big difference in the world. And join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. The reason why I say I plan is because this system that we live in at any moment could come crashing down on me and shut me down, as it has in the past, okay? So I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.